I think, you know, it's easy to sort of forget as a fan that the drivers do know that you're there, and it really makes a difference to the atmosphere, and it's so fantastic to have so many people out here. Fantastic to hear that the event is sold out tomorrow. Congratulations to Barber Motorsports Park and Zoom and everyone that's involved with IndyCar, because that is absolutely huge. And it's fantastic to see Alabama and Birmingham embrace this event year after year, and what a brilliant job you guys do at putting on this weekend.
Yeah, and you notice that, you know, when they first came, there were disbeliefs. This is NASCAR country, and truthfully, this has made an impact on the community, and they have developed quite the following here with IndyCar and the various other race series. So we're all fired up. This is getting ready to go.
Well, welcome again, race fans. This is race 3 of round 1 of the Blue Marble Radical Cup North America Series. My name is Tom Drewer, and I'm proud to be bringing you an action-packed race here from Barber Motorsports Park. And the reason I say that is, of course, we are joined from around the world, and the radical community from around the world, via live stream. Everyone egging on their fellow radical racers, whether they're in England or the Middle East, Australia, Asia, and all across the globe. So, 2 safety car laps or 2 pace car laps the field will take just to get some extra heat in these hand-cooked tyres and settle themselves down before about a 40-minute race. 2 scratches for this one. Jason Greenwood and Todd Solomon not taking the start. And we'll go from the back to the front. So in row 14, it will be PJ Hyatt alongside Chris Kemp. And look out for Chris Kemp. He should be pretty quick moving through the field. Mark Allen will start P26 alongside Richard Girosha. Girosha was the man involved in that first corner incident in race 1 yesterday, but he'll be looking to make amends for that. Jason Plotke said that he's another that is looking to progress up through the field. He'll start from position 24 on the grid, alongside Judd Miller, who's well out of place. Miller, of course, was the man that got a bit of a hip check there from John Field into turn 1 in the previous race, and ended up in the kitty litter next to the Sweet Home Alabama sign. And unfortunately, it was a broken upright that meant he couldn't continue on. Row 11 is Mike Anzaldi, our Pro 1340 champion, alongside Kent Myers. Then row 10, it's Thomas Palladino, alongside Scott Wagner, who's another Platinum Class car, just like Judd Miller's, out of position, really, on the grid. David Flint and Austin Riley start on the 9th row of the grid. Watch out for young Austin, the number 20 machine, racing with autism. Spark power on the side of that car and a great livery. He will be one to watch as he carves his way up through the field. Vince Switzer alongside Puce Engelman. And Puce has done a good job for effectively a club-level radical racer coming into the series and doing more than cutting his teeth. He's done a tremendous job this weekend. Reed Stewart and Chris McMurray are on row 7. David Albin, Palmer Miller, row 6. And look out for the number 32 machine. That is the one that has the Texas flag. Greg Gorski, always an action-packed racer. Number 24 alongside Jim Booth in the 63 McDonald's machine, starting from row 5. In row 4, it's Gustavo Raffles and Nate Smith. Look out for a great battle between Greg Gorski, Gustavo Raffles, Nate Smith, and the man who'll start in position 6. It's Reese Everett, who came away with a win in the Pro 1500 class this morning. Robert Rossi will start from P5. John Field in position 4, Louis Schreiber in position 3, Steve Jenks shares the front row of the grid with Indy Al Miller, the pole sitter, and all of the top 5 in the Platinum class, all in SR10s, equal equipment. This is spec racing, 3 classes, and the Platinum class with yellow on the rear wing, 1500 with red and green for Pro 1340. They're rounding the final corner here, side by side. The field is looking good and set for the green flag, which is displayed, and we're away racing and already 3 wide, and Jim Booth rockets down the inside in the McDonald's machine and into turn 1. We'll see if they get through cleanly. No, there's been a little bit of dust, but thankfully no one has come around. So again, 3 wide in the back of the field, and that was PJ Hyatt taking the long way around turn 2. He's done a good job to gain track position, and into the hairpin they go. So, oh, big dive to the inside, and that was the blue and green car there of David Flint having a look, a big look, as they go into the hairpin through the chicane for the first time. It's relatively calm. And Austin Riley looking racy alongside some of the 1500s. So good to get a clean lap in on lap 1 here. We've started the last couple of races with yellows, and never fun trundling behind the safety car. So this is good. All cars on track, everyone racing nose to tail, and great action throughout the field.
Yeah, that was a great start in light of the first 2 we had, where everybody kind of crammed into the turn 1, but that time it seems like third time's charm. Had it figured out.
Absolutely, and young Austin Riley having a bit of a moment as he exited the final corner there. But everyone getting through cleanly again, and now the field has just started to separate a little bit. I just saw Mike Anzaldi in the middle of a 3-way tussle, and a pass there going into Charlotte's Web. Just trying to pick up who that was, but there is smoke at the back of the field, so there has been some kind of contact. Richard Girosha has definitely got some smoke coming out of the back of that 29 machine.
Yes, he does.
So disaster for him, and that looks fairly terminal. Hopefully it's just a tire deflating as the cars stream past that camera. I love this shot. It just shows the speed of these prototypes. A really good angle past the apex of the corner. So at the moment, we're still under green flag conditions as Richard Girosha limps around. Meanwhile, the front of the field, it's the 500 machine of Indy Al Miller from Louis Schreiber in the 111. These guys are great rivals. Further back, you'll notice that PJ Hyatt was having a go at fellow Chicagoite and Autobahn member Mike Anzaldi. So good battle for the 1340 class. Someone that is very much out of position at the moment is 61 and streaming back up through the field. So Everett has had an issue early on. Reese Everett, who started 6th, is way down the field.
The 29 had some kind of contact. I'm looking, they've pulled off over by the museum. The driver's out of the car, and the headlight is no longer there, and he's pulled it out. He reached in and pulled it out. The driver did. So we
took a bit of repairs by himself there without the crew on site to do it. So I'm just looking here at the timings, and yeah, Reese Everett has dropped to 18th position. So he's got some work to do. He was on the pole for Pro 1500. And now with all the work to do, look out for the 61 machine. He'll be storming up through the field. Is at the front, or just through the screen there, I should say. Judd Miller was at the front of that pack and looking racy as Nate Smith was behind him. And then the 24, the Cock Oil Greg Gorski Smoke Buddy machine, extremely aggressive behind the 0-0 of Nate Smith. And that, I believe, is for the lead in Pro 1500. Forgive me, Gustavo Raffles is out in front of that melee, so that's all right. Raffles doing the business in 1500, and the reigning champion in his rightful place, he would say. So the order in 1500, Raffles from Gorski, Nate Smith, Palmer Miller, then it's back to Reese Everett, who has had a disastrous couple of opening laps. In Platinum, as they streak across the line, it's Al Miller from Louis Schreiber. Steve Jenks is third. And there they go through turn one. And Robert Rossi doing an outstanding job in his opening race, or opening round, if you like, of the season. His opening few races in his radical career. And into the hairpin, the top four cars separated by mere car lengths. This is for the Platinum class win. And behind them, you can see that Gustavo Raffles is well in front of his Pro 1500 class competitors. Look out for the stars and bars as a great pass to the inside, but look at that, look at the switchback. And 3 wide now on the back straightaway. Fantastic racing. So that looks like it's back David Albin in the 349 machine. And I think I got him mixed up with David Flint earlier in the call. As a bit of dust gets flicked up. Everyone pushing hard. Late in the day here at Barber Motorsports Park. No one taking it easy or taking a rest. And David Albin behind Austin Riley, who's doing a tremendous job coming up through the field. So that's for track position in the Pro 1340 class. And Albin looking pretty racy on the back of the yellow, black and green car. Albin in that green and blue car. So Wisco Racing driver chasing the Racing for Autism car, which has got a blue marble side pod on it. And I think the story is there that a fellow Canadian to Austin Riley bought one of Indy Al Miller's old cars and has lent a side pod to the number 20 machine. Hopefully young Austin's picking up some extra sponsorship dollars for that deal. As past the screen we just saw, and he's come off track. So that was the 32 of young Miller, and I'm not sure who he was fighting against. Palmer Miller, perhaps against Reed Stewart, or just check the timing screen here. It might have been, actually it was Reese Everett, Group A teammate in the white car. That's why I was trying to pick up who it was. The white car of the 61 of Reese Everett, trying to make amends after that disastrous start and coming back through the field and having a massive moment there as he tried to get past and dispatch Palmer Miller, which he has done now. A lot of young drivers looking to make a mark in their career, and what a way to do it in front of the IndyCar team owners and owners of Indy Lights teams and all the rest of it here this weekend. a huge array of talent in this field and a huge array of ages. In fact, Jim Booth, 69 years of age, I'll say. Don't think I'll go over that, otherwise he'll probably shoot me, but at 69, possibly plus.
Okay.
And Jim Booth in the 63 machine. On the front of that car, the McDonald's sponsor machine, it says, "I'm loving it." And Mr. Booth does indeed love his Radical Motorsport. He's driven in the US for many, many years, has gone across and won a European championship with his son, and also competed in the English series as well. And Jim looks like he'll be back in England later in the year. Looking forward to seeing him over there. So down the straightaway again they go. And Jim Booth just went through that shot with Palmer Miller behind. And Everett in the middle of that. So it's Booth, Everett, and Miller. And around the outside, Everett goes. So the diminutive 1500 car getting past Everett momentarily. And then Jim Booth using all the horsepower of that SR10 to stream back past. But this is the to and fro of multi-class racing. Of course, Everett's thinking, my God, Jim, don't hold me up. But of course, Jim says, well, mate, I'm going to hold you up because there might be a platinum class car behind you. So hearing some chatter on race control, but can't quite see if we've got an issue out on the circuit. Still green flag conditions as far as I'm aware. And safety car is at the end of pit lane, ready and waiting, but I don't think we've got any major issues at the moment. 25 minutes remaining on the clock. And these guys had it easy in the first couple of races. We do have a car that spun the...
over by the museum. As you come down out of that, we saw him on the grass, but he has, as you would say, moved on.
He has indeed, and that was the 99 of Kent Myers. So it looks like he had a tyre mark on the side of that machine. But luckily for everyone else, he's got out the way. Some just tremendous racing between all the classes as Mr. Smoke Buddy goes through the hairpin in the black cock oil car. Change of sponsorship for this year for Greg Gorski. And he started a clothing brand, nothing to do with motor oil. Thank you to Motul. That's our official oil for Radical Sports Cars all around the globe and indeed in this series. Thank you to Hankook Tire as well. And of course USAC for coming on board and sanctioning us this year. So through the chicane, a good battle there, and Albon in the middle of that as well. So we'll try and pick up who that is in the order. Albon, Reed Stewart's in there, Vince Switzer as well. They're all 1340 drivers.
As you said, Judd Miller has really moved up in this race. He's now currently running 6th.
6th outright and 6th in class indeed.
Wow.
So Miller definitely on for the Sunoco Hard Charger Award in this one. Now, what we didn't mention and what drivers are doing at the moment is coming into pit lane because there is a mandatory pit stop. So what has happened is the pit window is open. I think a lot of cars have elected to stay out as long as possible, just contemplating whether there was going to be that full course caution when the car spun. But now they're coming in for a mandatory stop. It's 60 seconds from pit in to pit out, so not a long hold time, around about 28 seconds if my math is correct. And so drivers will be eagerly waiting for their crews to give them the signal to go back out We'll see what happens here. It usually creates a little bit of chaos for timing and scoring until everything evens out. But the teams have to, and the drivers have to partake in a mandatory pit stop. So in the pits at the moment, Louis Schreiber is in, a couple of other drivers as well. Indy Miller's elected to stay out. So this is the question: do you stay out and try and hope that you're in clean air, get in some good laps, or do you try the undercut, come in, reset yourself, and go out with a vengeance? No real tyre changes or anything like that, but it is a game of strategy. So the pit window opened at about 15 minutes past the start of the race. It goes for 10 minutes. So we've got about 7 minutes left in that window. So you'll see all the drivers trundle into pit lane at some point in the next little while, as a big moment for Albon in the chicane. Past the museum he goes. So Nate Smith in pit lane in the 0-0 machine. And Indy Miller now coming in with the Group A car of Steve Jenks right behind the gearbox. And so Jenks electing to match exactly what his rival on the racetrack was going to do. So now the nerves build for both driver and team. They can't short the stop. If they do, it's going to be a stop and go drive-through penalty, which will be absolutely ruin the race. We can see up in the commentary booth, actually Al Miller has just angled his car slightly, so he's ready for the getaway.
Yes, he has, and you saw his crew checking the splitter up front.
Yeah, just making sure it was right. And that was a pretty close release there for one of the Crown cars as Al Miller launches out of the pit lane on the traction control and launch control of the SR10. Awesome stuff. So Miller, you can see, is very, very close to going over the white line as he comes back out onto the circuit. I think he was okay there, but Al Miller aggressively coming out of pit lane. He knows that he's got to get on with it and going for the pass immediately on effectively a back marker, the 153 of Chris Kemp. Now behind him, he has made significant time over the 68 of Steve Jenks. So that's interesting. There's a number of the other SR10 competitors come out of pit lane. One of the Scott Wagner racing cars coming out as Robert Rossi comes in. So in the next couple of laps, we'll see how the order goes. Judd Miller has taken over the lead from the back of the field.
But the hard charger so far. And as you said, though, and I do like the idea of coming in for a pit stop, because it does have that chess match kind of
it's a
thing.
different skill set. It obviously involves the teams. It prepares these drivers for what may lie in the future. Wow, as Reed Stewart, I think, in the 27 just came around the final corner getting everything. And the pit entry here is pretty ominous,
yes,
to say the least. It is a tough thing.
Well, it's Jed Miller just running one heck of a race. Still seeing some really interesting racing, and my focus always heads towards Charlotte's Web in turn 5. And as you see, we've got two cars side by side coming in. Let's see what the braking. Oh, I was thinking you might see a little over-under there, but they sorted it out, and we're back as they head towards the museum.
So just getting aware that there
Yes, it as you said, I think it's a great thing. I like the fact that you have to do this, but yeah.
So as the cars come around now, we'll wait and see how the timing and scoring plays out here. At the moment, it is the 64 machine of Judd Miller who is leading this motor race from the 28 of Gustavo Raffles, but a number of cars now coming into pit lane to make their stop, and it's quite a congested pit lane indeed. So Raffles is right at the end of this queue. This could be disastrous for Gustavo Raffles in the 28 machine, because he is waiting for Austin Riley to get out of his way as he comes into the pits.
And Miller comes in, and he was your leader when he came off the track.
Yeah, and Austin Riley coming up very close to David Albin, and that is for position in the 1340 class.
I think something else that is interesting is, you know, we're used to seeing on race teams a pole with a number on it or something that you can wave, and in this case, it's gentlemen in sweatshirts. And yes, you would hope that they would recognize their team members, but they don't stand out like the other.
No, that's true. And definitely people need to pay attention. The pit lane is pretty busy with 30-odd cars in the Blue Marble Radical Cup Series, and we're actually using effectively 2 cars per IndyCar pit box, so it's pretty tight down here.
Wow.
Which is why you probably want to come in with a clear pit lane around you.
Yeah, as you said, and you've got some people who are just cutting close, obviously, because you're hearing that, the 30 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so 60 seconds rather.
60 seconds, I mean.
But very close, and that's the challenge, is how much do you undercut the theoretical time, because it does take you a little bit of time to obviously speed up and slow down. And obviously it takes a little bit of time for you to react to your crew member telling you to go, and then for a little bit of time for you to dump the clutch and for the car to bite and get back up to speed. So while there's a sort of a theoretical time, you've got to try and work out, well, how much am I going to cheat the system? And a couple of drivers have indeed cheated that system by just the smallest of margins. But on the racetrack, we're now starting to see the order, and that is the 111 of Louis Schreiber, it appears, has taken the lead of this race over Robert Rossi in the 611, and Indy Al Miller has been relegated through that round of pit stops to 3rd overall and in class.
And Judd Miller, after his stop, is back to 6th, which is where he was before they started all the stops.
Yep, absolutely. So you can sort of see who gained some time, who lost some time, and then who remained the same. Indy Al Miller is on a flyer, though. He's been fired up by the news, undoubtedly coming from the pit wall, that, sorry guys, sorry mate, this didn't work out our way. And he's just done a 1:25.1. That's his fastest lap of the race, but the best time so far, a 1:24.944 for Robert Rossi, I believe, as Louis Schreiber goes quick as well. In fact, he's just done a 1:24.8. So as the fuel load comes down, the cars lighten off, everyone's in their rhythm. There's 13 minutes of racing left to go. And Steve Jenks just crossed the line. We'll wait to see. So there was Steve Jenks coming through turn 1. And there's the blue and black car of Gustavo Raffles, If we look down to Pro 1500, he is indeed in the lead of the 1500 class from Nate Smith, then Greg Gorski. I just fear that one or two of these guys are going to receive a drive-through penalty. It's always heartbreaking to hear that.
Yes.
Of course, no one wants that, but that is the game. This is the game you play in this race 3 pit stop.
Rules are rules.
So over the crest and over the tunnel they go. Gustavo raffles through the shot, and just in front there is Louis Schreiber in the 111. Schreiber rounding the final corner in the SR10 with Mike Anzaldi behind him in the 61 machine. And then it's Robert Rossi who's going to make a pass down into turn 1. And he was coming from a long way back and he didn't quite make it. Valor was, you know, the better use of judgment there. And now Rossi on the inside as Anzaldi gets the rim shot around the outside but can't do anything about the horsepower of the SR10. So a lot of cars dealing with traffic. Steve Jenks, another one who got all crossed up as they came through Charlotte's Web. As he passed PJ Hyatt, and we've got a car up against the fence. And I'm not sure where that is.
Let's see if
but
we can
it
make
looks
that
like the blue and green car of David Albert.
Back a little bit, we'll be able to tell.
So that's the 349 car, and he's way up against the fence.
Yes, he is.
So hopefully out of harm's way. Hopefully we can keep this race green. So we have gone full course yellow. Full course caution in play now. So obviously race control just wanting to make sure that car is A-OK. I just wonder if that's through turn 2.
I was trying to determine.
You can see the tram going past in the background and the hill. And I know there is a super screen out there in sort of that turn 2, turn 3 area.
They're giving you we have 2 views to look at. And
there we go. You can see the super screen. And Albin is very much right up against the fence, but the safety van, the safety car is out there.
Well, we have a caution.
And he's picked up the leader, so Louis Schreiber now, he'll be relieved. He'll be fine with this. He'll be saying, look guys, you can remain yellow for the rest of this race.
Yeah, I think this is overturned. Looks, there comes the pace car, safety car, out.
Yeah, and all the drivers just calming down. So we'll take you through the order in each of the classes. In the Platinum class, it is Louis Schreiber from Robert Rossi in the 611, Indy Al Miller in the 500 machine, and then back to Steve Jenks in the 68. 64, Judd Miller is in 5th in class. Scott Wagner is 6th in class. Jim Booth, 7th in class. John Field in 8th. And then over to Pro 1500. And he's 5th outright, but Gustavo Raffles is your leader in that class from Greg Gorski in the 24 machine, Reese Everett in the 61, Palmer Miller, who is 10th outright, but 4th in the Pro 1500 class. Then it's Nate Smith, and Pius Engelman rounds out the top 6. In Pro 1340, Chris McMurray is leading that one from Reed Stewart and Austin Riley. And Vince Switzer is 4th from Anzaldi, PJ Hyatt. Jason Plotke, Chris Kemp, and of course David Albin is sitting right next to the wall. He gets out of the car, so that's good to see. That's what we want to see.
Yep, this is over in the turn 2 and 3 combination, and the crew is over there trying to maneuver.
There's a shot on screen now, and you can see the the tractor, and that's probably the reason for bringing out the full course caution. A bit hard to get some of the emergency vehicles in there and just get that car removed. But Albin, you can see just near the forks, if you will, of the tractor, and taking his gloves off and assessing the situation, perhaps assessing a little bit of the damage on his car.
There you go. Put a strap underneath the car and lifting it.
So, with 7 minutes remaining, I'm just wondering whether we're going to get a kind of a green-white checker scenario here.
I think they'll get this out of there pretty quick. If provided the car starts and goes back up, he could actually drive it out of there, but you never know.
I think he's getting into the safety vehicle there, so I think he's out of this one, but certainly the emergency crews at Barber doing a good job extracting that car, and of course they can probably go up there is an escape road there.
Yes, there is.
And being very genteel with that radical, which we like to see. And there the cars stream past that fantastic low shot of that picture-perfect grass here at Barber Motorsport Park.
And there is a gate over there that they can go through to escape. And there's you also have the track services folks.
So there we are. They'll get that car removed pretty quickly, and I think, of course, the safety car is coming around the front straightaway, so we will be under yellow for one more lap.
Exactly.
It always seems to work out that way. But the drivers will see that that car has been extracted, so they'll know that we're about to go green, and it will be with about 4.5 minutes remaining on the clock. In theory, that'll be something like 3 or so laps. So it's going to be on for young and old here in the Blue Marble Radical Cup. The final race for us this weekend, and thank you again to all the race fans for coming out here. Enjoy tomorrow, enjoy all of the IndyCar and Road to IndyCar action. Radical Sports Cars really appreciate being part of this package.
Well, they've got the car behind the wall and the safety vehicles over there, so they have everybody's out of trouble now, so I expect you'll see the green flag next time by.
Absolutely. Now look for Indy Miller. He is awesome under brakes. He's starting third in the queue.
Yep.
Behind the 611 and the 111 of Louis Schreiber. Schreiber has a great friendship and rivalry, as we said, with Indy Miller, but there has been fireworks before. And in the middle of that, Robert Rossi is relatively new to racing. So whether he'll have a bit of a deficit in the racecraft, or we'll find out in just a moment. But a number of the drivers will be looking for this to be their opportunity to make amends for something earlier in the race, or get away from the guy behind. And I'm always amazed at how much space there is between all the cars, because if I was doing this restart, I'd be just about bumping the gearbox of the car in front, because you don't want to give away an inch. But here we go. They'll come to the line and take the green flag again. We're racing straight away here, so don't be surprised if you see a pass in that final corner. But it is Louis Schreiber who is in the lead as Rossi goes off. He's already feeling the pressure of Indy Miller, and side by side they went, as a couple of cars are side by side further in the pack too, so everyone taking advantage of the restart, and Rossi still behind Al Miller. Sorry, Al Miller still behind Rossi, I should say, as they come into the hairpin, and back behind them, Reese Everett has made an amazing move on Raffols, and this is for the Pro 1500 lead. Or is that his teammate? I may have got that. I may have got that really wrong. I think what's happened is the 68, and I'm getting confused with the white cars. of Group A racing, but I think the 68 of Steve Jenks is dicing it out there with the leader in the Pro 1500 class of Gustavo Raffles.
I was watching Judd Miller. When he came out of Charlotte's Web, he was really accelerating towards that chicane and downhill chicane, and we'll see as they come back by. Just under 2.5 minutes remaining.
Yeah, just under 2.5 minutes remaining. You mentioned Judd Miller, the Stars and Bars cars rounding that final corner now, and behind him he's got a gaggle of cars. And there's a lot of action going on in this final corner, so everyone getting racy. And who is that coming down the straight? That's Greg Gorski just passing Jason Plocky in the 119 machine. Oh, and someone's had a spin, and it's in turn one. It's Nate Smith, who in the 0-0 does a nice spin turn and gets back going, but he just dropped a wheel on the outside curb, but upset the back of the 0-0 Pro 1500 car. And we've got a car in the middle of the racetrack there.
Right.
So what has happened to the 77? And that is Mr. Superman.
Yep.
That is our friend Mark Allen, who's going to try and refire this car. Now that's a worry because you can't leave that car there. The race director will be hoping and hoping that Mark Allen can get this car going. And he looks like he's trying to do something about it. But I have a horrible feeling we're going to run out of time here. So what will happen? Will Mark Allen, and there is a yellow flag out, so they're going to keep racing, but it is yellow flag. So Mark Allen, hopefully nothing happens here. Allen is in the middle of the track, stranded. Well, this is good that they're keeping that. They're keeping out, and so that's going to change position, and this is pretty dicey stuff.
Yes.
And all the drivers having to react here. And they've got to be careful. This is under yellow, so you've got to slow down. But everyone being calm and cautious around turn 2. And hopefully we don't have a scenario where someone passes under yellow.
Yeah, that was dicey. They had some guys going high, low.
We've had a spin. So in the gravel trap is that's the 68 machine, I fear. We've got another slow car. So yeah, I think Steve Jenks is in the gravel.
Well, the clock is showing 0 time left.
Absolutely, so I think this will be our final lap. The checker flag is coming out. There was a white flag as well as the yellow displayed, but we were too focused on that car in turn 2. And coming to the line now, who will it be? So it is the 111 of Louis Schreiber who takes the win. And there's still a yellow flag being displayed. Congratulations to him. He is a winner in platinum from Robert Rossi. I think it was Judd Miller.
Judd Miller in third, according to timing.
Yeah, Robert Rossi, then Judd Miller. Steve Jenks in the gravel. So congratulations to Robert Rossi, another podium for him. So what happened to Indy Al Miller? We lost him on that final lap, I think.
Well,
but in Pro 1500, Gustavo Raffles has done it again. The champ. Another win for him. Reese Everett.
And he fires up now.
In second.
Good car that was stuck over in turn 2.
Oh. Well, not quite quick enough. I'm sure a lot of drivers will be thinking that for sure.
Now I have to question. Judd Miller passed the car, and I don't know who he passed, right before the start-finish line. We were under caution.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how some of that stuff plays out, I think. There's going to be a few videos being reviewed. It's always tough. You know, race director wants to keep the race going. We're down to the final stages. You know, it was a tough call to make. And really, the car wasn't on the racing line. He was actually more in the middle of the racetrack. But I think the seeing that car surprised a lot of the drivers, as it would.
Yes.
Now, he would have radioed to the teams that that was indeed there. But look, let's get back to the results, because there's been some fantastic performances. And Gustavo Raffles has taken the win in Pro 1500 from Reese Everett. And then Greg Gorski is on the podium, so congratulations to him. Palmer Miller 4th, Nate Smith 5th. These are all provisional, and things may change here because of that situation with cars possibly passing under yellow. In Pro 1340, Chris McMurray has taken another one ahead of Austin Riley, who's recovered beautifully from through the weekend to take a podium over Reed Stewart. And then it's Mike Anzaldi, PJ Hyatt, Jason Plotke rounding out the top 6 in Pro 1340. So I'm sure there's going to be plenty of talk about that controversy at the end of that one.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about first and second, especially in the platinum division. But the third place is somewhat. And again, I don't know who he was passing, but he was making. Yeah.
Well, and I think the other challenge there is obviously poor old Steve Jenks, who's got stuck in the gravel. Now, the good thing for Steve is because, and maybe that's actually Al Miller. That would make more sense. I'm just looking over there, and it's really hard to tell from here.
It is.
Because it possibly is the 500 machine, which would, and it's still a bit hard to tell, even with the binoculars. No, it is. I'm pretty sure that is 500. So Al Miller will be kicking himself.
Yes.
But look at the results. So it's Louis Schreiber from Robert Rossi, Judd Miller home 3rd, then Steve Jenks. So the top four also in the platinum class. In 5th was Gustavo Raffles, outstanding result for him, 1st in the Pro 1500 class. And then we're back to Scott Wagner, Reese Everett, who's 2nd in Pro 1500, and Greg Gorski, who's 10th overall, was the 3rd place getter in Pro 1500. Palmer Miller just off the podium again. Chris McMurray taking the win in the Pro 1340 category from Austin Riley and Reed Stewart. And look at that. 1, 2, and 3 finishing nose to tail in that class. A great competition. They might have the smallest engine, but certainly that is no questioning their racing ability. And in fact, many would argue the lesser power, the more momentum you have to carry. And right back through the field, a huge one, 30 cars.
Yes.
In the Blue Marble Radical Cup North American Series this weekend.
Well, and the race number 3 lived up to our expectations, as the race was just as good as the other 2 were. We had a start that was without incident, and that led to some really good racing.
It did indeed, and I think look, it was great to keep it green. Obviously a challenge with a car there in the middle of turn 2, and quite a bit of undulation at this circuit. But once again, the Blue Marble Radical Cup producing plenty of excitement, plenty of action for race fans here at Barber Motorsports Park. That has been round 1 of our championship. That's one of 6. And we're really looking forward to being a part of the IndyCar program at Road America. You can catch us at Watkins Glen, in Utah at COTA, and then in Sonoma. But there's plenty more action from the Blue Marble Radical Cup to come, and for that matter, Radical Racing all around the world. So check it out at radicalmotorsport.com. You can find out a little bit more about how you can get behind the wheel of a Radical.
Well, that's been great, and I want to go over there to the watch the podium awards and see who what plays out of the pit stop stuff too. We've talking about the car in the middle and everything, but there's a lot of things for the stewards to review in this, and I think that's going to be fun.
Fun for who?
Not for the steward.
No, look, I mean, that's unfortunately, that is motor racing, isn't it?
It is.
But look, you know, I'm sure there will be plenty of talk after that one. Hopefully we can celebrate the victors, and obviously for those that didn't quite work out, there's a bit of commiseration. But all in all, what an amazing weekend it has been for us anyway. Again, thank you to IndyCar, Barber Motorsports Park, Zoom, and everyone involved, all the volunteers, the flag marshals. It really is appreciated, all the hard work that goes into this event. And hopefully we'll see you again next year.
I hope so. And Tom, thank you very much to the folks. We got one more race, the Indy Pro 2. The Indy Pro 2000. Well, one more on-track event, I should say, qualifying for tomorrow's event. So we're going to take a break and catch up. So don't go away. Get yourself something cold to drink. Sit down. You still got a race. Some on-track activity.